So if you look at the tech industry, we see ourselves as very much the horizontal vertical itself, right? And recently we have also changed our constitution so that we can embrace a broader group of member companies, and especially focusing on tech at core companies. And what do we mean by tech at core? Tech at core means companies that exist and operates with technology at their core itself, right? Well, 4 points I would say. Right? First is really a seat, right? A seat at the table where we are the trusted voice for advocacy to the industry and to the government itself. Right? And second is really a gateway to communicate. A gateway for companies to communicate their thought leadership in technology and also to learn from other leaders, and in conjunction and collaboration to shape the future of our tech industries in Singapore and also in the region. And third is really a platform for the community to get together and collaborate, and allows company otherwise that competes on a daily basis to collaborate and drive towards higher altruistic goals itself. And fourth is an ecosystem of technology providers and technology users, an ecosystem of players across various parts of the value chain to get together, and an ecosystem for different players to come together to close the circle and form the circular economy itself. Yeah. Well, forward-thinking mindset. To me, when there's big challenges and big problems, there will be big opportunities itself. Right? And the bigger the problem, the bigger the risk, the bigger the business opportunities, if you know where to look for it. And this is where we just have to encourage our members to view it from a different angle and really look hard to find the opportunities themselves. Right? Yeah. So we mentioned also about a couple of strategic thrusts and programs that SGTech is really driving. So if you look at sustainable technology, right, or tech for sustainability, we're talking about digital trust. How do we drive trust as a foundational so-called concept that will encourage Singapore to position ourselves to be a global digital data and node, and there's lots of opportunity to create solutions and services surrounding that. Right? And of course, while talent is a challenge, there are many solutions that we can use technology to resolve some of these talents and really resource issues. So many opportunities when challenges are in our face is how do we work with our companies, our members, to really enable all these things as opportunities. Yeah. Well, I really look into two aspects, right? First thing, SMEs really, like you mentioned, lack the resources, the experience and knowledge, probably in different markets too. I'd like to talk a little bit about not just in Singapore, so from the regional basis. We have many programs, initiatives that is helping SMEs and our tech companies to regionalize and internationalize, right, for one. Second, they can actually tap into our vast network of our counterparts, right? Social is one example of 24 economies of similar trade associations across the region itself that will enable and help our companies project into the region successfully. And even locally, there are many digital transformation programs that SGTech is working very closely with the government, with other trade associations, that we really gather our tech organizations and tech members to provide more integrated, holistic solutions itself. Well, I would say understanding digital trade agreements and any free trade agreement is never easy even for large organizations. Not to talk about SMEs and startups, they will struggle. And we have had a couple of advocacies in this area. We believe the government has heard us, and there are also organizations like Singapore Business Federation that are planning a whole series of seminars to really deconstruct all these digital trade agreements that's in place. right? To help our companies understand where are the opportunities and how can we leverage. Now, on top of it, it's also important that we get feedback and inputs from the private sector so that we can feed all those points, good points, that what we wish to see in future digital trade agreements back to the government, and they can take those for negotiating our future DTAs with other countries. Yeah. Well, I would say we are not saying what are the ways, but I think we have to go on a layer basis, right? It's really talking about two simple layers. First, we have to help the industry level understand what is digital transformation, right? And that's where we have been working with Singapore Business Federation, together with other trade associations in other industries, to see how we can help them digitalize and transform digitally. And on top of it, to really understand what solutions that they should and could provide to their member companies too, right? And then there are also many programs and in all the IT transformation map across Singapore itself. Many different industries are driving together with government agencies. What we are trying to do is to launch what we call the Digital Transformation Center that will really aggregate and curate a set of solutions all the way from business strategy to the technology itself that we curate, right? And to how do we skill their own technical workforce successfully so that it becomes a sustainable digital transformation journey for all the non-tech SMEs. Yeah. I would say it has become clearer and clearer to me. All these macro challenges are posing a lot of challenge, not just to other industry, in fact, to the tech industry too. But I always like to say 𝗖𝗄𝗁 in Chinese, right? When there's danger, it poses lots of opportunities for our companies to leverage on. Right? So if you ask me what has changed since I took on the role and what I thought I signed up to, I don't think it has changed, but it's become more intensified in areas that I feel that I need to drive more critical conversations, how the whole tech industry, other industry, and together for Singapore, right? And also asking difficult questions to everyone, right? What are the important things that we need to tackle and that we cannot bury our head in the sand itself? And also, how can I organize SGTech to really champion all these very important programs and initiatives that is going to make a difference for Singapore in terms of how do we transform going forward to a stronger future for the tech industry itself, right? And when you ask me what keeps me awake at night, I don't think I'm worried what keeps me awake, but I think my biggest nightmare is to wake up one day and realize that Singapore has lost all our top ranking and leadership positions in the global digital economy, where in fact we could be number one in the world. Yeah. Say, doing what it takes to drive tech innovation and also to accelerate tech adoption itself. What I always say and I always believe, we have a once-in-a-lifetime chance in the new digital economy for the world, right? That Singapore can really position ourselves in a top position, or in fact number one position, to be the global digital and data node or hub, in fact, right? So what we need to do is really look at what are the hygiene factor and fundamentals required. So we believe foundation concept of success as a hub or node, be it physical or digital, is really trust, right? And that is why we have a big committee, steering committee, that's driving digital trust itself. And what kind of solutions, services, and also ecosystem we need to create in Singapore to really position ourselves successfully. Now, number two is also very important, tech for sustainability or sustainability technology itself, because we have no option B. There's no planet B for us to shift to, right? So we have to resolve the dichotomy that tech generates carbon. In fact, we believe that tech is the solution for sustainability going forward. And this is where we need to shape our members and to really assist and drive it as a whole ecosystem that the tech industry for Singapore is really driving tech for sustainability or sustainable technology itself, right? And I also say that technology is horizontal, vertical itself. So it's not just about tech industry and ICT solution providers. We have to embrace a bigger community, which I mentioned are tech core companies, right? Companies that exist and operate with technology in their core. And this is where we believe we can enable a whole ecosystem, right? And make an attempt to close the circle for the circular economy to drive real tech adoption, tech innovation, and sustainability for the tech industry in Singapore. Yeah. Well, critical challenges for SGTech. A lot of people think that in this whole global crisis of different magnitude and so-called dimensions, I expect that the tech industry seems to have gotten out stronger. No, I really think that tech companies have our own set of challenges. Now, I'll talk about SGTech first as an industry. We have signed ourselves up for a major 3-year transformation plan and program itself, because we need to pivot too, right, to tackle the new economy, to tackle the new challenges that is coming our way. Right. So what we believe that we need to do is to put into practice more transparent, vigilant and accountable operating principles going forward. Right. And we need to maintain strong leadership in the council too. And this is where we think we need to really rally all people from the tech industry that's willing and wish to contribute to come together to drive the association forward to be stronger itself. Diversity and inclusiveness is also very important, right? We have always seen council form with single dimension and too concentrated, and this is where I'm trying very hard to work with the council and the secretariat to see how we can form a more diverse council, not just in terms of gender, in terms of different types of companies being represented correctly on the council too. Right? So, and I think very important is really building strategic partnership with our key stakeholders. Right? Key stakeholders of so-called our counterparts in the region, trade associations like us, that we can help to collaborate and drive regional adoptions of standards, framework, and processes, so that we can cross-border collaborate and digitally be able to transact cross-border successfully at the private sector layer. Now, second is also very important that as we enter a world of unprecedented uncertainty itself, right? Government alone can't solve all the problems. Private sector alone can't solve all the problems. In fact, I'm talking not just for tech industry, but many sectors that I see. And this is where we believe that the government and the private sector really need to collaborate intimately. And I'm talking about real intimacy, right? As we collaborate close together to tackle the challenges in our face and to provide solutions that either one of us could not deliver uniquely and successfully. And if we can make this work to be really so intimate, I really believe this will be Singapore's unique advantage when we compete against the world.